continue to ensure that persons with disabilities are protected and can enter the job market with dignity and respect, either as entrepreneurs or employees.
That's right. The state, through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, has allotted $24 million to support business-minded persons with disabilities. Another $55.5 million is being used to strengthen the delivery of skills training and special education needs of the community. This International Day for Persons with Disabilities joined the government's drive to empower persons while providing an inclusive and equitable Jamaica for all its citizens. Find out how by visiting jcpdja.com.
Jamaica, I can help you protect our citizens.
Jamaica Eye will play a part in increasing your public safety.
Jamaica Eye is part of an island-wide network of camera surveillance systems designed to increase the safety of you, our citizens. If you have a camera system outside your home or office facing a public space, log on to jamaicaeye.gov.jm today. Jamaica Eye, we're all connected. The Ministry of National Security, creating a safer and prosperous Jamaica.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, December 3. The Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority and JAMPRO have partnered to attract more investments to the country. This was formalized with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding on Friday. The agreement sets out the framework within which the entities will collaborate to bolster and maximize the investment potential of the Special Economic Zone regime.
What the regime does, it creates some special incentives in specially designated geographic areas that are globally competitive for investors.
JAMPRO's president, Diane Edwards, says the partnership is critical to the collective efforts to sell Jamaica as a viable destination for investments.
Our location is critical and our infrastructure can be leveraged as a serious competitive advantage for Jamaica. And that's what the Special Economic Zone regime offers to the world.
The special economic zones are meant to increase trade, investment, job creation, and effective administration. It's part of government's move to reposition the island as the fourth node in the global logistics supply chain. Government is pursuing a plan to remove between 1.2 and 1.5 million used tires from the Riverton landfill in St. Andrew as part of measures to improve air quality in the area. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Darrell Vaz, says the project details are being finalized for submission to Cabinet. It involves contracting a private company to shred the tires, removing the wires, and using the tire material in the production of cement.
The reason why they are illicitly burning the tires on the dump and around the dump is to take the wire out of it for the scrap metal industry. This shredder will take the wire out automatically. So we will work with the communities down there to see how we can distribute the wires rather than them having to burn and cause the air quality problems that we have been having. So it's actually a win-win for everybody.
With the existing stock dealt with, Minister Vaz says the plan is then to identify a location for the regular delivery and shredding of waste tires. He says the project should hopefully begin between April and June of next year, and it should take about 12 to 18 months to totally get rid of all the existing stock of tires. The minister was speaking on Thursday at the launch of the Integrated Water, Land and Ecosystems IWECO project. The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, is executing the $13 million project, which aims to restore the hydrological and supporting features of the Negril Great Morass in Westmoreland. The IWECO project is being funded by government and the Global Environment Facility through the United Nations Environment Program. The Ministry of Health is to fast-track work to establish a national eye care policy and plan. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says an eye care technical working group tasked with the responsibility has been reactivated under his instructions.
Through a consultation with my ministry and other key stakeholders, a 5-year strategic framework was developed which focuses on 4 strategic areas. And this is long overdue, and so we have to move the process forward to get it done in a manner that actually impacts people on the ground.
Minister Tufton says the National Eye Care Policy will focus on strengthening health systems and services to improve eye health and reduce adult blindness and visual impairment from diabetic eye disease. It will also address blindness and visual impairment in children and strengthen multi-sectoral collaboration for improving the functional capacity of severely visually impaired and blind persons. Over 20,000 persons have been added to the voters list. The November 30, 2018 list has been published with the names of 1,934,860 registered voters. The names of 3,182 persons who are no longer eligible to vote were removed, including 2,415 electors who have died. Identification cards for voters added to the November 30 list should become available by mid-December at the relevant Electoral Office of Jamaica EOJ constituency offices. In the meantime, the EOJ is reminding persons that voters' ID cards with a 2017 expiry date remain valid until December 31 next year. The Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport has earmarked $1.25 million to establish an art district in downtown Kingston. State Minister Alanda Terrilong says the first $250,000 would be provided during the current fiscal year, and the remaining $1 million will come in 2019-2020. He made the announcement following the recent launch of the first 50 Impact Investment campaign at F&B downtown. The campaign, which is being spearheaded by the group Kingston Creative, is to raise $50 million towards the development of the Caribbean's first ever dedicated art district and creative hub. And finally, 617 parents and caregivers of children 2 to 6 years old have graduated from a PATH parenting education training course. Drawn from 60 communities, the parents participated in 7 months of training, which represented the second of a 3-phase implementation of the course that started in 2016.
The project seeks to educate households on PATH in some 8 thematic areas: nutrition, communication, discipline, punishment, education, money management, stress management, child development, and play. Workshops were hosted twice per month with a series of home visits interspersed to allow beneficiaries time to reflect, reinforce key messages, and implement new behaviors.
The final phase of training is to start in February 2019 with workshops and home visits targeting 300 families. The PATH Parenting Education Initiative is funded in partnership with the Inter-American Development Bank at a cost of over $60 million. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Stop! Think before you burn.
It's the first Monday in the month that many persons say is the most wonderful time of the year. Yes, lots of decorations, lights, merriment, and fun with family and friends. But we want you to be safe, especially from fires.
When it comes to Christmas lights, please ensure if you're leaving the house, plug them out. If you're going to bed, plug them out. Now, for adults especially, don't tell yourself that the child is going to plug them out when they finish watching TV. We know a lot of persons will be purchasing Christmas trees. Make sure you look for the UL rating for man-made Christmas trees. If you're using a live tree, make sure that you cut some of the lower branches off so that it will be able to fit into a container that you can pour some water in. Make sure that you are putting some water in that container at least every day. And the reason for this is, even though it's a so-called dead tree, the branches are still soaking up some amount of water and maintaining some amount of moisture, which will keep it fresher for longer. The fresher it is, the least likely it will catch fire. Position your Christmas tree at least 3 feet away from all heat sources. And when we speak of heat sources, a television is a heat source, the cable box is a heat source, all appliances are heat sources. So make sure that you position these trees at least 3 feet away. And you want to ensure when you put the decorations on them as well, the lights as well, what you want to ensure is that there's circulation space around the tree. And that will help to maintain the room temperature around that tree. One of the main things that we have to point out when it comes to holiday cooking, never ever leave the cooking unattended. We know how difficult that is when you have friends and family over, but please ensure you don't leave the cooking unattended. Worst, if you feel like you need to take a nap, and after you wake up, you do the cooking. Don't start cooking and tell yourself you're going to take a nap because enough water is in the pot. It won't boil over, it won't dry out. We have seen a lot of cases where this has led to fires, and we know that there'll be a lot more cooking in the Christmas season as well. As much as is possible, wear appropriate clothing. So long flowing sleeves that can hang over and catch fire, you don't want to be wearing those. And kitchen towels, make sure that at all times they are kept away from the stove. If it is that you have wind blowing in a particular direction, make sure you check the direction of the wind. No curtains can get to your stove. Children are naturally curious. At all times, no child must come within 3 feet of a stove. Make sure that you keep them away. Make sure you tell them why. Tell them what can happen if they do certain things, if they disobey, and make sure that they understand. Because what you don't want is for them to use that natural curiosity and then go ahead and experiment and try to find out why mommy say I mustn't light the stove when she light the stove. And again with children, make sure that no child under 12 is cooking.
Every child can learn. Every child must learn. That's the mantra of the Education Ministry, and one that we should all embrace. Here's how the ministry is engaging the deaf community.
So much has been done by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information to advance learning of deaf students. And with me to talk about these achievements is Education Officer within the ministry, Christina Addington. Welcome, Mrs. Addington.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me a bit about the different stages of hearing loss and how it affects the ability to learn in the traditional school system.
Okay, well, Andrew, hearing loss occurs on a continuum based going from hard of hearing to deafness. And on this continuum, there are different levels. So we start off with a mild hearing loss, then you can have a moderate loss, a severe loss, or a profound loss. It's important to note that it is the level of loss being experienced by the child that really impacts on if the child is able to be educated in the traditional system or if the child has to be educated in a segregated system. For children who experience mild hearing losses, for the most part they're able to cope and experience success in the regular school system. But for this to happen, there have to be a couple factors that have to be in place. Firstly, the student has to be amplified, fitted with hearing aids. The child has to be in a small school setting, most importantly, in a small class size, so that there's not a lot of background information to distort information being shared between teacher and the students in the classroom environment. Another thing is the teacher working with a child has to ensure that she or he utilizes specific strategies that will help the child maximize whatever residual hearing that the child has. So things like placing the child at the front of the class. The teacher has to also remember he or she cannot turn their backs to the class while teaching. They have to ensure that they always have the child's attention, let the child know when they're speaking to them. And the greatest thing I think also is that the parents have to be very, very involved, because once there's great parent involvement in the educational life of the child with a mild loss, then this will better ensure success.
So Mrs. Addington, how many specialized schools are there for these students?
Well, to date we have 7 special education schools for the deaf across the island in Jamaica. We have 3 public schools which are operated in partnership between the Ministry of Education and the Jamaica Association for the Deaf. These are the Danny Williams School for the Deaf. They are in Kingston, in Pope Estate, Papine, and they have 2 satellites. One, a preschool center, which is attached to the school, and another unit class at the Excelsior Primary School. The St. Christopher School for the Deaf is also a primary school, and that school is in Brownstown, St. Anne, and it has a boarding facility. And Lister Mayor Gilby High School for the Deaf is the high school for the deaf. And that school has 2 satellites. So they have a satellite in Maypen and they have a satellite in Port Antonio. The other 4 schools are private schools. They are the Caribbean Christian Center for the Deaf. They operate 3 schools, one in St. James, one in Manchester, and one in Kingston. And the Jamaica Christian School for the Deaf, and they operate in Lethe, St. James.
So how has the ministry been advancing the learning of these students in these particular institutions?
Well, the ministry has been playing its part. For the most part, there is greater interaction and greater support to the public schools. One of the things that the ministry has done a couple of years ago, through discussions, the special education unit lobbied for posts of teachers' assistants to be established for the schools, special schools, and so the schools for the deaf, all the schools for the deaf, public schools, they got teachers' assistants. It's important to note that these teachers' assistants, they're not called teachers' assistants in the schools for the deaf, but they're called deaf culture facilitators. So although their role is to assist in helping the teachers to bring across the concepts, they also have another, which is a more important role, which is they are the deaf models for the children. The children are deaf, they are deaf, so the children have models and they display the culture, the deaf culture. So then and there, the children are seeing and learning about their culture and learning that it is okay to be deaf. They're deaf and it's a part of life and how they can succeed. The ministry also has put in place quality education circles, and all the schools for the deaf are engaged in a quality education circle. So the principals meet with administrators from other schools, they share information, and so the principals are able to learn and get advice and share information. The high school for the deaf has benefited from being placed on the e-learning Jamaica project, and so all the teachers there have been trained and are better equipped to, infuse the technology into the teaching learning process.
So what are the advantages of learning in these specialized institutions?
Main advantage, I would say, is at the schools for the deaf, the pupil-teacher ratio is 8:1. So we talk about 8 students to 1 teacher. Now, when you compare that with a regular school system where it's 1:35, but in most cases 1:40 or some more, we can say that the children are in a setting which makes concessions that they cannot hear, so they need more time to be spent interacting, engaging in learning. That the teachers, for the most part, in these institutions are special education trained. So the teachers are trained in deaf education, and while in school they have what they call in-service training, where the Jamaica Association for Deaf provides training in them gaining Jamaican Sign Language competence. So we know that the teachers, are being trained to effectively communicate with the children. So they're getting the information because it's being effectively passed on to them in a manner which they understand. The methodologies used are methodologies which are specific for enhancing learning with the population. And as I say, small setting, persons know and better understand them and are better able to work with them.
Perfect note to end on and signs for you to follow up on. We want to thank Mrs. Christina Addington from the Special Education Unit in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information for sharing with us today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, until next time, see you around.
What is the National Identification System? The new National ID will for the first time give Jamaicans one ID that is trusted and verifiable. This means easier access to government services like PATH and NIS. It will be easier to do business with the government and the private sector. Eventually, there'll be no need to walk with more than one ID. Support the new National ID. Get the facts at nidsfacts.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at nidsfacts.
Though fulfilling, parenting can sometimes be a frustrating endeavor. It may also be a mix of trial and error. But even through these periods, we as the chosen guides for our future leaders have to always be mindful of what we teach them. We have to be the positive and ever reassuring influence on them. And one way of doing that may be choosing not to use corporal punishment when we discipline our young.
When we use violence in the disciplining of our children, what we are teaching them is that the only way to deal with stress, to make corrections, to change, is by the use of violence. And then we look on and marvel as to why our society is so violent and we have so many murders. When we as parents resort to the ultimate punishment and defend it, that good will come of it. No good will come of it.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness is right. If Jamaica is to fulfill its promise of being the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business, we have to be a positive influence on our children. We don't have to beat them to teach them. Instead, we should all strive to discipline with love, understanding, compassion, and most of all, patience.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
This next feature highlights the work of one of the training institutions catering to the disabled community on the island.
Lexley is preparing for another day at Jamaican Teas, where he works as assistant to the factory manager and the company's hazard analysis and critical control points coordinator. He is among the men and women who, despite their physical, mental, or social limitations and impairments, are learning to create value and purpose with the skills they have acquired. His life has been changed significantly because of the services provided by the Abilities Foundation.
Life was sort of weird in many ways. A lot of wasting of time in terms of parties, but yet still wanted to achieve something, but the opportunity wasn't there.
It was through a group of concerned parents, stakeholders, that their children who were disabled, after graduating high school, they had nowhere else to go. And they raised a telethon to raise funds to establish a skills training center. And through that, Abilities Foundation was born in October 1992. Abilities Foundation is a unique institution. It's the only institution in the Caribbean and in Jamaica that caters to all disabilities.
The foundation was established to meet two primary objectives: increase the employability of persons with disabilities and teach good work ethics to young adults with disabilities to prepare them for integration into society.
The training programs I was engaged in is office administration. Being at the Abilities Foundation and being a person with disabilities, basically you are comfortable because you are amongst persons with disabilities and their understanding of conditions. I learned that there.
The courses offered through the Abilities Foundation seek to provide opportunities for full participation and equality. These programs open new skill areas and, whenever possible, are crafted within existing social, education, and labor trends. The foundation currently offers 5 training programs: housekeeping levels 1 and 2, furniture making, data operations levels 1 and 2, design and decor soft furnishing, horticulture and landscaping.
What we do is that we give them an in-house test. If they are capable of passing it at 70%, we send them up to do what you call an assessment. The assessment is done by outside persons from Heart, and they do the assessment and finish the program, certified through Heart. If they are not capable, then they will give them what you call a unit competency. That unit competency is a document or paper showing that they are capable of doing these units.
The foundation also provides a functional life skills curriculum which focuses on the students' transition to the workforce, as well as remedial English and mathematics, money awareness and management.
I assist them with preparation of their resumes, their cover letters, searching for different employment opportunities. One of my major functions is to provide them with placement sites so that they can get job experience.
For the past couple of years, we have been with the NYS, and we recognize that after that's a summer program, but we recognize that after they are placed in the summer program, it's easier for us to go back to those places to get permanent placement for them because they see what they can do and not their disability.
The foundation has been able to extend its reach and service offerings through grant funding from the Japanese Policy Human Resources Development Grant Program. The grant was provided through the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's Social and Economic Inclusion Project for persons with disabilities.
What this project endeavors to do is to build the capacity of the institution through professional development courses for the staff. A major component of this project is to assist the students with a training stipend, and it is targeted for those who are path beneficiaries. The project also provides them with a job placement officer and a job coach. So when we place them on jobs, we also give them a coach to mentor and help them throughout the process.
The foundation continues to open doors for persons with disabilities and equip them with the requisite skills and knowledge to become productive Jamaican citizens. The Abilities Foundation, creating opportunities for the exceptional.
That's all the time we have on this station. We'll be back around about the same time tomorrow. You may watch our offerings at your leisure online. Visit jis.gov.jm or pages on all the major social media platforms or on our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Sandra Clark. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.